Hello and welcome to Business on the Wire. As industry and lives begin to slowly emerge from the lockdown, this may be the most critical juncture ever for real estate. It's a space that's seen enough turbulence in the last couple of years. The first blow came post-demonetization, where many projects froze as cash supply in the system began to dry up. The second came when the larger NBFCs or non-banking financial institutions started reeling due to bad loans or bad debts, rising payments and not enough access to money from larger banks. So what is the future of a space that has often been seen in a very harsh light because of the seemingly cozy coterie between builders, politicians, and of course easy money? The same year as demonetization came, another huge change for the retail landscape, or really the real estate landscape, came in with the RERA Act. The main aim for RERA was to address the concerns of home buyers, builders, brokers, and other stakeholders of the real estate industry. While the intent was positive, the Act did serve as a very restrictive move for the realty space. Cut to 2020 and the COVID breakdown, or the lockdown. Where from here for the real estate universe? To simplify, let's break the real estate space into smaller blocks. On the one hand is the commercial space, large corporates, SEZs, malls, etc. And the other part of the block is, of course, the residential space, homes bought by you and I. For larger corporates, reports from large business districts like Gurgaon, for example, already indicate that companies have begun to pull out of leases, they've let go of office space, and they are not keen on such large spots. Most larger organizations have actually worked out systems and protocol for working from home for an extended period from here on, and employees seem happy to keep it like that. This doesn't include, of course, the large IT parks, etc., but the larger sentiment seems to be to cut down on real estate tenancy at this point. There's the other bigger problem of money. Large landlords like the top real estate players, for example, have reportedly given no discount on rent, no exceptions, not even for car parking. Smaller players with personal relationships may have given a little bit of concession, like perhaps 1 month's rent free, but that really is the exception and not the norm. To understand what's really going on in the real estate space, I spoke with Sanjay Dutt, who's MD and CEO at Tata Housing and Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited.
Kali, I'll clarify. I do expect every time there's a disruption, there are new, business impediments, and you want to make changes. In fact, for first 2 to 3 years, like we did 47 million square feet, it is possible that in 2020, the office demand may be 20 million or 25 million. It is possible. It is also possible that even next year, it may remain so low because companies are trying to assess the impact of business, and they may continue to keep capex, headcount, and real estate they may not commit expansion.
That the lockdown has hit people hard is not news, but what it does to the retail home market will be. Privately, people in the know say for the rest of this year, no one is going to buy homes because of cash flow situations. The hope is that the dip will be deep but short. But the real test will be whether or not over the next 4 to 6 months we see a deferral or a delay in bookings or an outright cancellation. In fact, brokerage house IIFL estimates a 40 to 60% decline in bookings, which real estate players vociferously deny.
2 lakh crore worth of projects are stuck for last mile fundings. Data point 1. 1 lakh crore worth of inventory, which earlier was even larger, is increasingly coming down because they are ready to move inventory, no GST. As a result of this, there is an appeal in the market for this. And because there are less competition, and again, research firms like Prop Equity and Lysas for Us, or firms like Anrock, 360 Degree will share the data with you, that the new launches have come down. Yeah. Now, given this scenario, for the first 6 months, I do expect the demand to be less by 50%, but not because people don't want to buy, but because people can't visit the projects and the sites.
So, how will this pan out? The timing, at least for retail, is unfortunate. Over the last couple of years, the number of new launches was actually going down. The gap between supply and demand was getting recalibrated, it was shrinking a bit, and prospective homeowners were beginning to put the devils of the real estate space, like the scores of abandoned projects in Greater Noida, or even the huge liquidity crisis that they've been facing, behind them. But there's one issue that needs to be resolved before things move ahead. The feeling that there is almost a sense of shame amongst real estate players and builders in lowering prices. So even though demand slumps, prices are actually held at often incredulous rates just to save face, something that doesn't happen in any other industry, whether it's white goods or anything else.
There are multiple reasons for this. So I'm saying yes, between 2009 and 10, when the markets came down, developers were in denial. I would admit that. They did not correct the prices for reasons we don't know. One reason I can assume, a lot of developers, nearly 70-80% of the developers are young crop. They came only 10-15 years ago. They did not exist before. They didn't know how to handle the matter. And that's why so many developers will get wiped out as a result of consolidation. So that could be one reason. The second reason was, in the past, there was a very high percentage of investors buying real estate. And when you're selling to investors, there is a natural concern that if I reduce my prices, the investors will be upset. It is possible for many of them not to correct the prices. However, in the recent 5 to 6 years, when the pain has been more than established and developers have not been in denial, they've actually admitted that the sector is in pain. And even the government acknowledged the sector is in pain. And the job losses as a result of real estate not doing well is affecting you and me. It's a food chain.
And so, I have three questions that now face the real estate business. Do corporates want to carry on with large office spaces, or will they find more value in setting up work from home options on reduced salaries for employees? Will the banking sector be willing to extend money and loans to the real estate space where they have actually burnt their fingers before, in an environment where a slowdown is painfully clear? And number three, will real estate companies continue to struggle with the decision on how much to lower prices, or will they begin to bring down prices as you would see on many other products in order to really bring demand back? A crucial year lies ahead for the real estate space that will separate the men from the boys.